The Tibetan Book of the Dead. Narrated by Matthew Schmitz. Book 1. The Chikhai Bardo and the Chonyid Bardo. Herein lieth the setting face to face to the reality in the intermediate state, the great deliverance by hearing while on the after-death plane, from the profound doctrine of the emancipating of the consciousness by meditation upon the peaceful and wrathful deities, the obeisances, to the divine body of truth, the incomprehensible, boundless light, to the divine body of perfect endowment, who are the lotus and the peaceful and the wrathful deities, to the lotus-born incarnation, Padma Sambhava, who is the protector of all sentient beings, to the gurus, the three bodies, obeisance. The introduction. This great doctrine of liberation by hearing, which conferreth spiritual freedom on devotees of ordinary wit, while in the intermediate state, hath three divisions: the preliminaries, the subject matter, and the conclusion. At first, the preliminaries, the guide series for emancipating beings, should be mastered by practice. The transference of the consciousness principle by the guide, the highest intellects ought most certainly to be liberated. But should they not be liberated, then, while in the intermediate state of the moments of death, they should practice the transference, which giveth automatic liberation by one's merely remembering it. Devotees of ordinary wit ought most certainly to be freed thereby. But should they not be freed, then, while in the intermediate state, during the experiencing of reality, they should preserve in the listening to this great doctrine of liberation by hearing. Accordingly, the devotee should at first examine the symptoms of death as they gradually appear in his dying body, following self-liberation by observing the characteristics of the symptoms of death. Then, when all the symptoms of death are complete, he should apply the transference, which conferreth liberation by merely remembering the process. The reading of this Theodol. If the transference hath been effectually employed, there is no need to read this Theodol. But if the transference hath not been effectually employed, then this Theodol is to be read correctly and distinctly near the dead body. If there be no corpse, then the bed or the seat to which the deceased had been accustomed should be occupied by the reader, who ought to expound the power of the truth. Then, summoning the spirit of the deceased, imagine it to be present there, listening, and read. During this time, no relative or fond mate should be allowed to weep or to wail, as such is not good for the deceased. So, restrain them. If the body be present, just when the expiration hath ceased, either a lama who hath been as a guru to the deceased, or a brother in the faith whom the deceased trusted, or a friend for whom the deceased had great affection, putting the lips close to the ear of the body without actually touching it, should read this great Theodol. The practical application of this Theodol by the officiant. Now for the explaining of the Theodol itself. If thou canst gather together a grand offering, offer it in worship of the Trinity. If such cannot be done, then arrange whatever can be gathered together as objects, on which thou canst concentrate thy thoughts and mentally create as illimitable an offering as possible, and worship. Then the path of good wishes invoking the aid of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas should be recited 7 times or thrice. After that, the path of good wishes giving protection from fear in the Bardo, and the path of good wishes for safe delivery from the dangerous pitfalls of the Bardo. It, together with the root words of the Bardo, are to be read distinctly and with the proper intonation. Then this great Theodol is to be read either 7 times or thrice, according to the occasion. First cometh the setting face to face to the symptoms of death as they occur during the moments of death. Second, the application of the great vivid reminder, the setting face to face to reality while in the intermediate state. And third, the methods of closing the doors of the womb while in the intermediate state when seeking rebirth. Part 1. The Bardo of the Moments of Death. Instructions on the symptoms of death, or the first stage of the Chikai Bardo, the primary clear light seen at the moment of death. The first, the setting face to face with the clear light during the intermediate state of the moments of death is. Here, some there may be who have listened much to religious instructions, yet not recognized, and some who, though recognizing, are nevertheless weak in familiarity. But all classes of individuals who have received the practical teachings called guides will, if this be applied to them, be set face to face with the fundamental clear light, and without any intermediate state, they will obtain the unborn Dharmakaya by the great perpendicular path. The manner of application is: it is best if the Guru, from whom the deceased received guiding instructions, can be had. But if the Guru cannot be obtained, then a brother of the faith, or if the latter is also unobtainable, then a learned man of the same faith, or should all these be unobtainable, then a person who can read correctly and distinctly ought to read this many times over. Thereby the deceased will be put in mind of what he had previously heard of the setting face to face, and will at once come to recognize that fundamental light and undoubtedly obtain liberation. As regards the time for the application of these instructions, when the expiration bath ceased, the vital force will have sunk into the nerve center of wisdom, and the knower will be experiencing the clear light of the natural condition. Then the vital force, being thrown backwards and flying downwards through the right and left nerves, the intermediate state momentarily dawns. The above directions should be applied before the vital force hath rushed into the left nerve, after first having traversed the navel nerve center. The time ordinarily necessary for this motion of the vital force is as long as the inspiration is still present, or about the time required for eating a meal. Then the manner of the application of the instructions is: when the breathing is about to cease, it is best if the transference hath been applied efficiently. If the application hath been inefficient, then address the deceased thus: O nobly born, the time hath now come for thee to seek the path in reality. Thy breathing is about to cease. Thy Guru hath set thee face to face before with the clear light, and now thou art about to experience it in its reality in the Bardo state, wherein all things are like the void and cloudless sky, and the naked, spotless intellect is like unto a transparent vacuum without circumference or center. At this moment, know thou thyself, and abide in that state. I, too, at this time, am setting thee face to face. Having read this, repeat it many times in the ear of the person dying, even before the expiration hath ceased, so as to impress it on the mind of the dying one. If the expiration is about to cease, turn the dying one over on the right side, which posture is called the lying posture of a lion. The throbbing of the arteries on the right and left side of the throat is to be pressed. If the person dying be disposed to sleep, or if the sleeping state advances, that should be arrested and the arteries pressed gently but firmly. Thereby the vital force will not be able to return from the median nerve and will be sure to pass out through the Brahmanic aperture. Now the real setting face to face is to be applied. At this moment, the first glimpsing of the Bardo of the clear light of reality, which is the infallible mind of the Dharmakaya, is experienced by all sentient beings. The interval between the cessation of the expiration and the cessation of the inspiration is the time during which the vital force remaineth in the median nerve. The common people call this the state wherein the consciousness principle hath fainted away. The duration of this state is uncertain. It dependeth upon the constitution, good or bad, and the state of the nerves and vital force. In those who have had even a little practical experience of the firm, tranquil state of dhyana, and in those who have sound nerves, this state continueth for a long time. In the setting face to face, the repetition of the above address to the deceased is to be persisted in until a yellowish liquid beginneth to appear from the various apertures of the bodily organs of the deceased. In those who have led an evil life, and in those of unsound nerves, the above state endureth only so long as would take to snap a finger. Again, in some, it endureth as long as the time taken for the eating of a meal. In various tantras, it is said that this state of swoon endureth for about 3½ days. Most other religious treatises say for 4 days, and that this setting face to face with the clear light ought to be persevered in during the whole time. The manner of applying these directions is, if when dying one be, by one's own self, capable of diagnosing the symptoms of death, use of the knowledge should have been made ere this. If the dying person be unable to do so, then either the guru or a shishya or a brother in the faith with whom the one dying was very intimate should be kept at hand, who will vividly impress upon the one dying the symptoms of death as they appear in due order, repeatedly saying at first, thus, "Now the symptoms of earth sinking into water are come." When all the symptoms of death are about to be completed, then enjoin upon the one dying this resolution, speaking in a low tone of voice in the ear, "O nobly born," or if it be a priest, "O venerable sir, let not thy mind be distracted." If it be a brother in the faith or some other person, then call him by name and say thus, "O nobly born, that which is called death, being come to thee now, resolve thus, O this now is the hour of death. By taking advantage of this death I will so act, for the good of all sentient beings peopling the illimitable expanse of the heavens, as to obtain the perfect Buddhahood by resolving on love and compassion towards them, and by directing my entire effort to the soul perfection. Shaping the thoughts thus, especially at this time when the Dharmakaya of clear light in the state after death can be realized for the benefit of all sentient beings, know that thou art in that state, and resolve that thou wilt obtain the best boon of the state of the great symbol in which thou art, as follows. Even if I cannot realize it yet, will I know this Bardo, and, mastering the great body of union in Bardo, will appear in whatever shape will benefit all beings whomsoever. I will serve all sentient beings, infinite in number, as are the limits of the sky. Keeping thyself unseparated from this resolution, thou shouldest try to remember whatever devotional practices thou wert accustomed to perform during thy lifetime. In saying this, the reader shall put his lips close to the ear, and shall repeat it distinctly, clearly impressing it upon the dying person so as to prevent his mind from wandering, even for a moment. After the expiration hath completely ceased, press the nerve of sleep firmly, and a lama, or a person higher or more learned than thyself, impress in these words thus: Reverend Sir, now that thou art experiencing the fundamental clear light, try to abide in that state which now thou art experiencing. And also in the case of any other person, the reader shall set him face to face thus: O nobly born, listen. Now thou art experiencing the radiance of the clear light of pure reality. Recognize it. O nobly born, thy present intellect, in real nature void, not formed into anything as regards to characteristics or color, naturally void, is the very reality, the all good. Thine own intellect, which is now voidness, yet not to be regarded as of the voidness of nothingness, but as the being, the intellect itself, unobstructed, shining, thrilling, and blissful, is the very consciousness, the all-good Buddha. Thine own consciousness, not formed into anything, in reality void, and the intellect, shining and blissful, these two are inseparable. The union of them is the Dharmakaya state of perfect enlightenment. Thine own consciousness, shining, void, and inseparable from the great body of radiance, hath no birth nor death, and is the immutable light, Buddha Amitabha. Knowing this is sufficient, recognizing the voidness of thine own intellect to be Buddhahood, and looking upon it as being thine own consciousness, is to keep thyself in the state of the divine mind of the Buddha. Repeat this distinctly and clearly 3 or even 7 times. That will recall to the mind of the dying one the former, as, when living, setting face to face by the Guru. Secondly, it will cause the naked consciousness to be recognized as the clear light. And thirdly, recognizing one's own self thus, one becometh permanently united with the Dharmakaya, and liberation will be certain. Instructions concerning the second stage of the Chikai Bardo, the secondary clear light seen immediately after death. Thus the primary clear light is recognized and liberation attained. But if it be feared that the primary clear light hath not been recognized, then it can certainly be assumed there is dawning upon the deceased that called the secondary clear light, which dawneth in somewhat more than a mealtime period, after that the expiration hath ceased. According to one's good or bad karma, the vital force floweth down into either the right or left nerve and goeth out through any of the apertures of the body. Then come a lucid condition of the mind. To say that the state of the primary clear light endureth for a mealtime period would depend upon the good or bad condition of the nerves, and also whether there hath been previous practice or not in the setting face to face. When the consciousness principle getteth outside the body, it saith to itself, Am I dead, or am I not dead? It cannot determine. It seeth its relatives and connections as it had been used to seeing them before. It even heareth the wailings. The terrifying karmic illusions have not yet dawned, nor have the frightful apparitions or experiences caused by the lords of death yet come. During this interval, the directions are to be applied by the Lama or reader. There are those devotees of the perfected stage of the visualizing stage. If it be one who was in the perfected stage, then call him thrice by name and repeat over and over again the above instructions of setting face to face with the clear light. If it be one who was in the visualizing stage, then read out to him the introductory descriptions and the text of the meditation on his tutelary deity, and then say, O thou of noble birth, meditate upon thine own tutelary deity. Here, the deity's name is to be mentioned by the reader. Do not be distracted. Earnestly concentrate thy mind upon thy tutelary deity. Meditate upon him as if he were the reflection of the moon in the water, apparent, yet inexistent in itself. Meditate upon him as if he were a being with a physical body. So saying, the reader will impress it. If the deceased be of the common folk, say, Meditate upon the great compassionate Lord. By thus being set face to face, even those who would not be expected to recognize the Bardo unaided are undoubtedly certain to recognize it. Persons who while living had been set face to face with the reality by a guru, yet who have not made themselves familiar with it, will not be able to recognize the Bardo clearly by themselves. Either a guru or a brother in the faith will have to impress vividly such persons. There may be even those who have made themselves familiar with the teachings, yet who, because of the violence of the disease causing death, may be mentally unable to withstand illusions. For such, also, this instruction is absolutely necessary. Again, there are those who, although previously familiar with the teachings, have become liable to pass into the miserable states of existence, owing to breach of vows or failure to perform essential obligations honestly. To them, this instruction is indispensable. If the first stage of the Bardo path been taken by the forelock, that is best. But if not, by application of this distinct recalling to the deceased, while in the second stage of the Bardo, his intellect is awakened and attaineth liberation. While on the second stage of the Bardo, one's body is of the nature of that called the shining illusory body. Not knowing whether he be dead or not, a state of lucidity cometh to the deceased. If the instructions be successfully applied to the deceased while he is in that state, then, by the meeting of the mother reality and the offspring reality, karma controlleth not. Like the sun's rays, for example, dispelling the darkness, the clear light on the path dispelleth the power of karma. That which is called the second stage of the Bardo dawneth upon the thought body. The knower hovereth within those places to which its activities had been limited. If at this time this special teaching be applied efficiently, then the purpose will be fulfilled, for the karmic illusions will not have come yet, and, therefore, he, the deceased, cannot be turned hither and thither from his aim of achieving enlightenment. Part 2. The Bardo of the Experiencing of Reality. Introductory instructions concerning the experiencing of reality during the third stage of the Bardo, called the Choinyid Bardo, when the karmic apparitions appear. But even though the primary clear light be not recognized, the clear light of the second Bardo being recognized, liberation will be obtained. If not liberated even by that, then that called the third Bardo, or the Choinyid Bardo, dawneth. In this stage of the Bardo, the karmic illusions come to shine. It is very important that this great sitting face to face of the Choinyid Bardo be read. It hath much power and can do much good. About this time, the deceased can see that the share of food is being set aside, that the body is being stripped of its garments, that the place of the sleeping rug is being swept, can hear all the weeping and wailing of his friends and relatives, and, although he can see them and can hear them calling upon him, they cannot hear him calling upon them, so he goeth away displeased. At that time, sounds, lights, and rays, all three, are experienced. These awe, frighten, and terrify, and cause much fatigue. At this moment, this setting face to face with the Bardo during the experiencing of reality is to be applied. Call the deceased by name, and correctly and distinctly explain to him as follows: O nobly born, listen with full attention without being distracted. There are 6 states of Bardo, namely, the natural state of Bardo while in the womb, the Bardo of the dream state, the Bardo of ecstatic equilibrium while in deep meditation, the Bardo of the moment of death, the Bardo during the experiencing of reality, the Bardo of the inverse process of samsaric existence. These are the 6. O nobly born, thou wilt experience 3 Bardos: the Bardo of the moment of death, the Bardo during the experiencing of reality, and the Bardo while seeking rebirth. Of these 3, up to yesterday, thou hadst experienced the Bardo of the moment of death. Although the clear light of reality dawned upon thee, thou wert unable to hold on, and so thou hast to wander here. Now, henceforth, thou art going to experience the other 2, the Choinyid Bardo and the Sidpa Bardo. Thou wilt pay undistracted attention to that with which I am about to set thee face to face, and hold on. O nobly born, that which is called death hath now come. Thou art departing from this world, but thou art not the only one. Death cometh to all. Do not cling in fondness and weakness to this life. Even though thou clingest out of weakness, thou hast not the power to remain here. thou wilt gain nothing more than wandering in this samsara. Be not attached to this world. Be not weak. Remember the precious Trinity. O nobly born, whatever fear and terror may come to thee in the Choniad Bardo, forget not these words, and bearing their meaning at heart, go forwards. In them lieth the vital secret of recognition. Alas, when the uncertain experiencing of reality is dawning upon me here, with every thought of fear or terror or awe for all apparitional appearances set aside, may I recognize whatever visions appear as the reflections of mine own consciousness. May I know them to be of the nature of apparitions in the Bardo. When, at this all-important moment of opportunity of achieving a great end, may I not fear the bands of peaceful and wrathful deities, mine own thought forms. Repeat thou these verses clearly, and remembering their significance as thou repeatest them, go forwards, O nobly born. Thereby, whatever visions of awe or terror appear, recognition is certain, and forget not this vital secret art lying therein. O nobly born, when thy body and mind were separating, thou must have experienced a glimpse of the pure truth, subtle, sparkling, bright, dazzling, glorious, and radiantly awesome in appearance, like a mirage moving across a landscape in springtime in one continuous stream of vibrations. Be not daunted thereby, nor terrified, nor awed. That is the radiance of thine own true nature. Recognize it. From the midst of that radiance, the natural sound of reality, reverberating like 1,000 thunders simultaneously sounding, will come. That is the natural sound of thine own real self. Be not daunted thereby, nor terrified, nor awed. The body which thou hast now is called the thought body of propensities. Since thou hast not a material body of flesh and blood, whatever may come, sounds, lights, or rays, are all three unable to harm thee. Thou art incapable of dying. It is quite sufficient for thee to know that these apparitions are thine own thought forms. Recognize this to be the Bardo. O nobly born, if thou dost not now recognize thine own thought forms, whatever of meditation or of devotions thou mayest have performed while in the human world, if thou hast not met with this present teaching, the lights will daunt thee, the sounds will awe thee, and the rays will terrify thee. Shouldst thou know this all-important key to the teachings, not being able to recognize the sounds, lights, and rays, thou wilt have to wander in the samsara. The dawning of the peaceful deities from the 1st to the 7th day. Assuming that the deceased is karmically bound, as the average departed one is, to pass through the 49 days of the Bardo existence. Despite the very frequent settings face to face, the daily trials and dangers which he must meet and attempt to triumph over, during the first 7 days, wherein dawn the peaceful deities, are next explained to him in detail. The first day, judging from the text, be reckoned from the time in which normally he would be expected to wake up to the fact that he is dead and on the way back to rebirth, or about 3½ to 4 days after death. The first day. O nobly born, thou hast been in a swoon during the last 3½ days, As soon as thou art recovered from this swoon, thou wilt have the thought, what hath happened? Act so that thou wilt recognize the Bardo. At that time, all the samsara will be in revolution, and the phenomenal appearances that thou wilt see then will be the radiances and deities. The whole heavens will appear deep blue. Then, from the central realm, called the spreading forth of the seed, the Bhagavan Vairocana, white in color and seated upon a lion throne, bearing an 8-spoked wheel in his hand, and embraced by the mother of the space of heaven, will manifest himself to thee. It is the aggregate of matter resolved into its primordial state, which is the blue light. The wisdom of the Dharma-Dhatu, blue in color, shining, transparent, glorious, dazzling, from the heart of the Vairocana, as the Father-Mother, will shoot forth and strike against thee with a light so radiant that thou wilt scarcely be able to look at it. Along with it, there will also shine a dull white light from the Devas, which will strike against thee in thy front. Thereupon, because of the power of bad karma, the glorious blue light of the wisdom of the Dharma-Dhatu will produce in thee fear and terror, and thou wilt wish to flee from it. Thou wilt beget a fondness for the dull white light of the Devas. At this stage, thou must not be awed by the divine blue light which appears shining, dazzling, and glorious, and be not startled by it. That is the light of the Tathagata, called the light of the wisdom of the Dharma-Dhatu. Put thy faith in it, believe in it firmly, and pray unto it, thinking in thy mind that it is the light proceeding from the heart of the Bhagavan Vairocana, coming to receive thee while in the dangerous ambuscade of the Bardo. That light is the light of the grace of Vairocana. Be not fond of the dull white light of the Devas. Be not attached to it. Be not weak. If thou be attached to it, thou wilt wander into the abodes of the Devas, and be drawn into the whirl of the 6 lokas. That is an interruption to obstruct thee on the path of liberation. Look not at it. Look at the bright blue light in deep faith. Put thy whole thought earnestly upon Vairocana, and repeat after me this prayer. Alas, when wandering in the samsara, because of intense stupidity, on the radiant light path of the Dharma-Dhatu wisdom, may I be led by the Bhagavan Vairocana. May the Divine Mother of Infinite Space be my rear guard. May I be led safely across the fearful ambush of the Bardo. May I be placed in the state of the all-perfect Buddhahood. Praying thus, in intense, humble faith, thou wilt merge, in halo of rainbow light, into the heart of Vairocana, and obtain Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya, in the central realm of the densely packed. The second day. But if, notwithstanding this setting face to face, through power of anger or obscuring karma, one should be startled at the glorious light and flee, or be overcome by illusions, despite the prayer, on the second day, Varha Sattva and his attendant deities, as well as one's evil deeds, meriting hell, will come to receive one. Thereupon, the setting face to face is, calling the deceased by name, thus, O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the second day, the pure form of water will shine as a white light. At that time, from the deep blue eastern realm of preeminent happiness, the Bhagavan Akshobhya, as Varahasattva, blue in color, holding in his hand a five-pronged dorje, seated upon an elephant throne and embraced by the mother Memaki, will appear to thee, attended by the bodhisattvas Kishitgarbha and Maitreya, with the female bodhisattvas Lasema and Pushpema. These 6 Bodic deities will appear to thee. The aggregate of thy principle of consciousness, being in its pure form, which is the mirror-like wisdom, will shine as bright, radiant white light from the heart of Varahasattva, the Father-Mother, with such dazzling brilliancy and transparency that thou wilt scarcely be able to look at it, and will strike against thee, and a dull smoke-colored light from hell will shine alongside the light of the mirror-like wisdom, and will also strike against thee. Thereupon, through the power of anger, thou wilt beget fear and be startled at the dazzling white light, and wilt wish to flee from it. Thou wilt beget a feeling of fondness for the dull smoke-colored light from hell. Act then, so that thou wilt not fear that bright, dazzling, transparent white light. Know it to be wisdom. Put thy humble and earnest faith in it. That is the light of the grace of the Bhagavan Varahasattva. Think with faith, I will take refuge in it, and pray. That is the Bhagavan Varahasattva, coming to receive thee and to save thee from fear and terror of the Bardo. Believe in it, for it is the hook of the rays of grace of Varahasattva. Be not fond of the dull, smoke-colored light from hell. That is the path which openeth out to receive thee because of the power of accumulated evil karma from violent anger. If thou be attracted by it, thou wilt fall into the hell worlds, and falling therein, thou wilt have to endure unbearable misery. Once there is not certain time of getting out. That being an interruption to obstruct thee on the path of liberation, look not at it, and avoid danger. Be not attracted by it, be not weak. Believe in the dazzling bright white light, and, putting thy whole heart earnestly upon the Bhagavan Varahasattva, pray thus. Alas, when wandering in the samsara, because of the power of violent anger, on the radiant light path of the mirror-like wisdom, may I be led by the Bhagavan Varahasattva. May the Divine Mother, Memaki, be my rear guard. May I be led safely across the fearful ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of the all-perfect Buddhahood. Praying thus in intense humble faith, thou wilt merge in rainbow light into the heart of the Bhagavan Varahasattva and obtain Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya, in the eastern realm called preeminently happy. The 3rd day. Yet even when set face to face in this way, some persons, because of obscurations from bad karma and from pride, although the hook of the rays of grace striketh against them, flee from it. If one be one of them, then, on the 3rd day, the Bhagavan Ratnasambhava and his accompanying deities, along with the light path from the human world, will come to receive one simultaneously. Again, calling the deceased by name, the setting face to face is thus. O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the 3rd day, the primal form of the element earth will shine forth as a yellow light. At that time, from the southern realm endowed with glory, the Bhagavan Ratnasambhava, yellow in color, bearing a jewel in his hand, seated upon a horse throne and embraced by the Divine Mother Sangye Chanma, will shine upon thee. The two bodhisattvas, Akasha Bharba and Samanta Bhadra, attended by the two female bodhisattvas, Malema and Dupima, in all 6 Bodhic forms, will come to shine from amidst a rainbow halo of light, the aggregate of touch in its primal form, as the yellow light of the wisdom of equality, dazzlingly yellow, glorified with orbs having satellite orbs of radiance, so clear and bright that the eye can scarcely look upon it, will strike against thee. Side by side with it, the dull bluish-yellow light from the human world will also strike against thy heart, along with the wisdom light. Thereupon, through the power of egotism, thou wilt beget a fear for the dazzling yellow light and wilt wish to flee from it. Thou wilt be fondly attracted towards the dull bluish-yellow light from the human world. At that time, do not fear that bright, dazzling yellow, transparent light, but know it to be wisdom. In that state, keeping thy mind resigned, trust in it earnestly and humbly. If thou knowest it to be the radiance of thine own intellect, although thou exertest not thy humility and faith and prayer to it, the divine body and light will merge into thee inseparably, and thou wilt obtain Buddhahood. If thou dost not recognize the radiance of thine own intellect, think with faith. It is the radiance of the grace of the Bhagavan Ratnasambhava. I will take refuge in it and pray. It is the hook of the grace rays of the Bhagavan Ratnasambhava. Believe in it. Be not fond of that dull bluish-yellow light from the human world. That is the path of thine accumulated propensities of violent egotism come to receive thee. If thou art attracted by it, thou wilt be born in the human world and have to suffer birth, age, sickness, and death, and thou wilt have no chance of getting out of the quagmire of worldly existence. That is an interruption to obstruct thy path of liberation. Therefore, look not upon it, and abandon egotism, abandon propensities. Be not attracted towards it, be not weak. Act so as to trust in that bright, dazzling light. Put thine earnest thought one-pointedly upon the Bhagavan Ratnasambhava, and pray thus. Alas, when wandering in the samsara because of the power of violent egotism, on the radiant light path of the wisdom of equality, may I be led by the Bhagavan Ratnasambhava. May the Divine Mother, she of the Buddha eye, be my rear guard. May I be led safely across the fearful ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of the all-perfect Buddhahood. By praying thus, with deep humility and faith, thou wilt merge into the heart of the Bhagavan Ratnasambhava, the Divine Father-Mother, in halo of rainbow light, and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya, in the southern realm endowed with glory. The 4th day. By thus being set face to face, however weak the mental faculties may be, there is no doubt of one's gaining liberation. Yet, though so often set face to face, there are classes of men who, having created much bad karma, or having failed in observance of vows, or their lot for higher development being altogether lacking, prove unable to recognize their obscurations and evil karma from covetousness and miserliness produce awe of the sounds and radiances, and they flee. If one be one of these classes, then on the fourth day, the Bhagavan Amitabha and his attendant deities, together with the light path from the Preta-loka, proceeding from miserliness and attachment, will come to receive one simultaneously. Again, the setting face to face is calling the deceased by name, thus, O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the fourth day, the red light, which is the primal form of the element fire, will shine. At that time, from the red western realm of happiness, the Bhagavan Buddha Amitabha, red in color, bearing a lotus in his hand, seated upon a peacock throne and embraced by the Divine Mother Gokarmo, will shine upon thee, together with the Bodhisattvas Chenrazi and Jampal, attended by the female Bodhisattvas Gautima and Alok. The 6 bodies of enlightenment will shine upon thee from amidst a halo of rainbow light. The primal form of the aggregate of feelings, as the red light of the all-discriminating wisdom, glitteringly red, glorified with orbs and satellite orbs, bright, transparent, glorious and dazzling, proceeding from the heart of the Divine Mother Amitabha, will strike against thy heart so radiantly that thou wilt scarcely be able to look upon it. Fear it not. Along with it, a dull red light from the Preta-loka, coming side by side with the light of wisdom, will also shine upon thee. Act so that thou shalt not be fond of it. Abandon attachment and weakness for it. At that time, through the influence of intense attachment, thou wilt become terrified by the dazzling red light, and wilt wish to flee from it, and thou wilt beget a fondness for that dull red light of the Preta-loka. At that time, be not afraid of the glorious, dazzling, transparent, radiant red light, recognizing it as wisdom, keeping thine intellect in a state of resignation, thou wilt merge into it inseparably and attain Buddhahood. If thou dost not recognize it, think, it is the rays of the grace of the Bhagavan Amitabha, and I will take refuge in it. And, trusting humbly in it, pray unto it. That is the hook rays of the grace of the Bhagavan Amitabha. Trust in it humbly, flee not. Even if thou fleest, it will follow thee inseparably from thyself. Fear it not. Be not attracted towards the dull red light of the Preta-loka. That is the light path proceeding from the accumulations of thine intense attachment to samsaric existence, which hath come to receive thee. If thou be attached thereto, thou wilt fall into the world of unhappy spirits, and suffer unbearable misery from hunger and thirst. Thou wilt have no chance of gaining liberation therein. That dull red light is an interruption to obstruct thee on the path of liberation. Be not attached to it, and abandon habitual propensities. Be not weak. Trust in the bright, dazzling red light. In the Bhagavan Amitabha, the Father, Mother, put thy trust one-pointedly and pray thus. Alas, when wandering in the samsara because of the power of intense attachment, on the radiant light path of the discriminating wisdom, may I be led by the Bhagavan Amitabha. May the Divine Mother, she of white raiment, be my rear guard. May I be safely led across the dangerous ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of the all-perfect Buddhahood. By praying thus, humbly and earnestly, thou wilt merge into the heart of the Divine Father-Mother, the Bhagavan Amitabha, in halo of rainbow light, and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya, in the Western realm named Happy. The fifth day. It is impossible that one should not be liberated thereby. Yet, Though thus set face to face, sentient beings, unable through long association with propensities to abandon propensities, and through bad karma and jealousy, awe and terror being produced by the sounds and radiances, the hook rays of grace failing to catch hold of them, wander down also to the fifth day. If one be such a sentient being, thereupon the Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi with his attendant deities and the light rays of his grace will come to receive one. A light proceeding from the Asura Loka, produced by the evil passion of jealousy, will also come to receive one. The setting face to face at that time is, calling the deceased by name, thus: O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the fifth day, the green light of the primal form of the element air will shine upon thee. At that time, from the green northern realm of successful performance of best actions, the Bhagavan Buddha Amoga Siddhi, green in color, bearing a crossed dorje in hand, seated upon a sky-traversing harpy throne, embraced by the Divine Mother, the faithful Dolma, will shine upon thee with his attendants. The two bodhisattvas, Chagna Dorje and Dibpanamsel, attended by two female bodhisattvas, Gandhema and Nidhema. These 6 Bodic forms, from amidst the halo of rainbow light, will come to shine. The primal form of the aggregate of volition, shining as the green light of the all-performing wisdom, dazzlingly green, transparent and radiant, glorious and terrifying, beautified with orbs surrounded by satellite orbs of radiance, issuing from the heart of the Divine Father-Mother, Amoga Siddhi, green in color, will strike against thy heart, so wondrously bright that thou wilt scarcely be able to look at it. Fear it not. That is the natural power of the wisdom of thine own intellect. Abide in the state of great resignation and impartiality. Along with it, as such, the green light of the all-performing wisdom, a light of dull green color from the Asura Loka, produced from the cause of the feeling of jealousy, coming side by side with the wisdom rays, will shine upon thee. Meditate upon it with impartiality, with neither repulsion nor attraction. Be not fond of it. If thou art of low mental capacity, be not fond of it. Thereupon, through the influence of intense jealousy, thou wilt be terrified at the dazzling radiance of the green light, and wilt wish to flee from it, and thou wilt beget a fondness for that dull green light of the Asura Loka. At that time, fear not the glorious and transparent, radiant and dazzling green light, but know it to be wisdom, and in that state allow thine intellect to rest in resignation. Or else think, it is the hook rays of the light of grace of the Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi, which is the all-performing wisdom. Believe thus on it. Flee not from it. Even though thou shouldst flee from it, it will follow thee inseparably from thyself. Fear it not. Be not fond of that dull green light of the Asura Loka. That is the karmic path of acquired intense jealousy, which hath come to receive thee. If thou art attracted by it, thou wilt fall into the Asura Loka and have to engage in unbearable miseries of quarreling and warfare. That is an interruption to obstruct thy path of liberation. Be not attracted by it. Abandon thy propensities. Be not weak. Trust in the dazzling green radiance, and, putting aside thy whole thought one-pointedly upon the Divine Father-Mother, the Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi, pray thus: Alas, when wandering in the samsara because of the power of intense jealousy, on the radiant light path of the all-performing wisdom, May I be led by the Bhagavan Amoghasiddhi. May the Divine Mother, the faithful Tera, be my rearguard. May I be led safely across the dangerous ambush of the Bardo, and may I be placed in the state of the all-perfect Buddhahood. By prayer thus, with intense faith and humility, thou wilt merge into the heart of the Divine Father-Mother, the Bhagavan Amoghasiddhi, in halo of rainbow light, and attain Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya, in the northern realm of heaped-up good deeds. The 6th day. Being thus set face to face at various stages, however weak one's karmic connections may be, one should have recognized in one or the other of them, and where one has recognized in any of them, it is impossible not to be liberated. Yet, although set face to face so very often in that manner, one long habituated to strong propensities and lacking in familiarity with, and pure affection for, wisdom, may be led backwards by the power of one's own evil inclinations, despite these many introductions. The hook rays of the light of grace may not be able to catch hold of one. One may still wander downwards because of one's begetting the feeling of awe and terror of the lights and rays. Thereupon, all the Divine Fathers Mothers of the 5 orders of Dhyana Buddhas with their attendants will come to shine upon one simultaneously. At the same time, the lights proceeding from the 6 lokas will likewise come to shine upon one simultaneously. The setting face to face for that is, calling the deceased by name, thus: O nobly born, until yesterday each of the 5 orders of deities had shone upon thee, one by one, and thou hadst been set face to face. But, owing to the influence of thine evil propensities, thou wert awed and terrified by them, and hast remained here till now. If thou hadst recognized the radiances of the 5 orders of wisdom to be the emanations from thine own thought forms, ere this thou wouldst have obtained Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya, through having been absorbed into the halo of rainbow light in one or another of the 5 orders of Buddhas. But now look on undistractedly. Now the lights of all 5 orders, called the lights of the union of 4 wisdoms, will come to receive thee. Act so as to know them. O nobly born, on this, the 6th day, the 4 colors of the primal states of the 4 elements, water, earth, fire, air, will shine upon thee simultaneously. At that time, from the central realm of the spreading forth of sea, the Buddha Vairocana, the Divine Father-Mother, with the attendant deities will come to shine upon thee. From the eastern realm of preeminent happiness, the Buddha Vajrasattva, the Divine Father-Mother, with the attendant deities will come to shine upon thee. From the southern realm, endowed with glory, the Buddha Ratnasambhava, the Divine Father-Mother, with the attendant deities will come to shine upon thee. From the happy western realm of headed-up lotuses, the Buddha Amitabha, the Divine Father-Mother, along with the attendant deities, will come to shine upon thee. From the northern realm of perfected good deeds, the Buddha Amoghasiddhi, the Divine Father-Mother, along with the attendants will come, amidst a halo of rainbow light, to shine upon thee at this very moment. O nobly born, on the outer circle of these 5 pair of Dhyani Buddhas, the 4 doorkeepers, the wrathful ones, the victorious one, the destroyer of the Lord of Death, the horse-necked king, the urn of nectar, with the 4 female doorkeepers, the goad-bearer, the noose-bearer, the chain-bearer, and the bell-bearer, along with the Buddha of the Devas, named the one of supreme power, the Buddha of the Asuras, named he of strong texture, the Buddha of mankind, named the lion of the Shakyas, the Buddha of the brute kingdom, named the unshakable lion, the Buddha of the Pretas, named the one of flaming mouth, and the Buddha of the lower world, named the King of Truth. These, the 8 father-mother doorkeepers, and the 6 teachers, the victorious ones, will come to shine too. The all-good father and the all-good mother, the great ancestors of all the Buddhas, Samanta Bhadra and Samanta Bhadre, the divine father and the divine mother. These 2 also will come to shine. These 42 perfectly endowed deities issuing from within thy heart, being the product of thine own pure love, will come to shine. Know them. O nobly born, these realms are not come from somewhere outside thyself. They come from within the 4 divisions of thy heart, which, including its center, make the 5 directions. They issue from within there, and whine upon thee. The deities, too, are not come from somewhere else. They exist from eternity within the faculties of thine own intellect. Know them to be of that nature. O nobly born, the size of all these deities is not large, not small, but proportionate. They have their ornaments, their colors, their sitting postures, their thrones, and the emblems that each holds. These deities are formed into groups of 5 pairs, each group of 5 being surrounded by a 5-fold circle of radiances. The male bodhisattvas partaking of the nature of the divine fathers, and the female bodhisattvas partaking of the nature of the divine mothers. All these divine conclaves will come to shine upon thee in one complete conclave. They are thine own tutelary deities. Know them to be such. O nobly born, from the hearts of the divine fathers and mothers of the 5 orders, the rays of light of the 4 wisdoms united, extremely clear and fine, like the rays of the sun spun into threads, will come and shine upon thee and strike against thy heart. On that path of radiance there will come to shine glorious orbs of lights, blue in color, emitting rays, the Dharma Dhatu, wisdom itself, each appearing like an inverted turquoise cap, surrounded by similar orbs, smaller in size, more glorious, with 5 yet smaller satellite orbs dotted round about with 5 starry spots of light of the same nature, leaving neither the center nor the borders of the blue light path unglorified by the orbs and the smaller satellite orbs. From the heart of Varhasattva, the white light path of the mirror-like wisdom, white and transparent, glorious and dazzling, glorious and terrifying, made more glorious with orbs surrounded by smaller orbs of transparent and radiant light upon it, each like an inverted mirror, will come to shine. From the heart of Ratnasambhava, the yellow light path of the wisdom of equality, glorified with yellow orbs of radiance, each like an inverted gold cup, surrounded by smaller orbs, and these with yet smaller orbs, will come to shine. From the heart of Amiteba, the transparent, bright red light path of the discriminating wisdom, upon which are orbs, like inverted coral cups, emitting rays of wisdom, extremely bright and dazzling, each glorified with 5 satellite orbs of the same nature, leaving neither the center nor the borders of the red light path unglorified, with orbs and smaller satellite orbs, will come to shine. These will come to shine against thy heart simultaneously. O nobly born, all those are the radiances of thine own intellectual faculties come to shine. They have not come from any other place. Be not attracted towards them. Be not weak, be not terrified, but abide in the mood of non-thought formation. In that state, all the forms and radiances will merge into thyself, and Buddhahood will be obtained. The green light path of the wisdom of perfected actions will not shine upon thee, because the wisdom faculty of thine intellect hath not been perfectly developed. O nobly born, those are called the lights of the four wisdoms united, whence proceeds that which is called the inner path through Varhasattva. At that time, thou must remember the teachings of the setting face to face, which thou hast had from thy Guru. If thou hast remembered the purport of the settings face to face, thou wilt have recognized all these lights which have shone upon thee as being the reflection of thine own inner light, and, having recognized them as intimate friends, thou wilt have believed in them and have understood them at the meeting, as a son understandeth his mother. And, believing in the unchanging nature of the pure and holy truth, thou wilt have had produced in thee the tranquil flowing samadhi, and, having merged into the body of the perfectly evolved intellect, thou wilt have obtained Buddhahood in the Sambhogakaya, whence there is no return. O nobly born, along with the radiances of wisdom, the impure illusory lights of the 6 lokas will also come to shine. If it be asked, what are they? They are a dull white light from the devas, a dull green light from the asuras, a dull yellow light from human beings, a dull blue light from the brutes, a dull reddish light from the pretas, and a dull smoke-colored light from hell. These 6 thus will come to shine, along with the 6 radiances of wisdom, whereupon be not afraid, nor be attracted towards any, but allow thyself to rest in the non-thought condition. If thou art frightened by the pure radiances of wisdom and attracted by the impure lights of the 6 lokas, then thou wilt assume a body in any of the 6 lokas and suffer samsaric miseries, and thou wilt never be emancipated from the ocean of samsara, wherein thou wilt be whirled round and made to taste of the sufferings thereof. O nobly born, if thou art one who hath not obtained the select words of the Guru, thou wilt have fear of the pure radiances of wisdom and of the deities thereof. Being thus frightened, thou wilt be attracted towards the impure samsaric objects. Act not so. Humbly trust in the dazzling, pure radiances of wisdom. Frame thy mind to faith and think. The compassionate radiances of wisdom of the 5 orders of Buddhas have come to take hold of me out of compassion. I take refuge in them. Not yielding to attraction towards the illusory lights of the 6 lokas, but devoting thy whole mind one-pointedly towards the divine fathers and mothers, the Buddhas of the 5 orders, pray thus. Alas, when wandering in the samsara through the power of the 5 virulent poisons, on the bright radiance path of the 4 wisdoms united, may I be led by the 5 victorious conquerors. May the 5 orders of divine mothers be my rear guard. May I be rescued from the impure light paths of the 6 lokas, and, being saved from the ambuscades of the dread Bardo, may I be placed within the 5 pure divine realms. By thus praying, one recognizeth one's own inner light, and, merging one's self therein, in at one mint, Buddhahood is attained. Through humble faith, the ordinary devotee cometh to know himself and obtaineth liberation. Even the most lowly, by the power of the pure prayer, can close the doors of the 6 lokas and in understanding the real meaning of the four wisdoms united, obtain Buddhahood by the hollow pathway through Vajrasattva. Thus, by being set face to face in that detailed manner, those who are destined to be liberated will come to recognize the truth. Thereby, many will attain liberation. The worst of the worst, those of heavy evil karma, having not the least predilection for any religion, and some who have failed in their vows, through the power of karmic illusions, not recognizing, although set face to face with truth, will stray downwards. The seventh day. On the seventh day, the knowledge-holding deities from the holy paradise realms come to receive on. Simultaneously, the pathway to the brute world, produced by the obscuring passion, stupidity, also cometh to receive one. The setting face to face at that time is, calling the deceased by name, thus: O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the seventh day, the vari-colored radiance of the purified propensities will come to shine. Simultaneously, the knowledge-holding deities from the holy paradise realms will come to receive one. From the center of the circle, or mandala, enhaloed in radiance of rainbow light, the supreme knowledge-holding deity, the lotus lord of dance, the supreme knowledge-holder who ripens karmic fruits, radiant with all 5 colors, embraced by the Divine Mother, the red Dakini, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. To the east of that circle, the deity called the earth-abiding knowledge-holder, white of color, with radiant, smiling countenance, embraced by the white Dakini, the Divine Mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. To the south of that circle, the knowledge-holding deity called he, having power over duration of life, yellow in color, smiling and radiant, embraced by the yellow Dakini, the Divine Mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. To the west of that circle, the knowledge-holding deity of the great symbol, red of color, smiling and radiant, embraced by the red Dakini, the Divine Mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. To the north of that circle, the deity called self-evolved knowledge-holder, green of color, with a half-angry, half-smiling countenance, embraced by the green Dakini, the Divine Mother, he holding a crescent knife and a skull filled with blood, dancing and making the mudra of fascination, with his right hand held aloft, will come to shine. In the outer circle, round about these knowledge holders, innumerable bands of Dakinis, Dakinis of the 8 places of cremation, Dakinis of the 4 classes, Dakinis of the 3 abodes, Dakinis of the 30 holy places, and of the 24 places of pilgrimage, heroes, heroines, celestial warriors, and faith-protecting deities, male and female, each bedecked with the 6 bone ornaments, having drums and thigh-bone trumpets, skull timbrels, banners of gigantic human-like hides, human hide canopies, human hide bannerets, fumes of human fat incense, and innumerable other kinds of musical instruments, filling with music the whole world systems and causing them to vibrate. to quake and tremble with sounds so mighty as to daze one's brain, and dancing various measures will come to receive the faithful and punish the unfaithful. O nobly born, five-colored radiances of the wisdom of the simultaneously born, which are the purified propensities, vibrating and dazzling like colored threads, flashing, radiant and transparent, glorious and awe-inspiring, will issue from the hearts of the five chief knowledge-holding deities and strike against thy heart, so bright that thy eye cannot bear to look upon them. At the same time, a dull blue light from the brute world will come to shine along with the radiances of wisdom. Then, through the influence of the illusions of thy propensities, thou wilt feel afraid of the radiance of the five colors, and, wishing to flee from it, thou wilt feel attracted towards the dull light from the brute world. Thereupon, be not afraid of that brilliant radiance of five colors, nor terrified, but know the wisdom to be thine own. Within those radiances, the natural sound of the truth will reverberate like 1,000 thunders. The sound will come with a rolling reverberation, amidst which will be heard, "Slay, slay," and awe-inspiring mantras. Fear not, flee not, be not terrified, know them, insomuch as these sounds to be of the intellectual faculties of thine own inner light. Be not attracted towards the dull blue light of the brute world, be not weak. If thou art attracted, thou wilt fall into the brute world, wherein stupidity predominates, and suffer the illimitable miseries of slavery and dumbness and stupidness, and it will be a very long time ere thou canst get out. Be not attracted towards it. Put thy faith in the bright, dazzling, five-colored radiance. Direct thy mind one-pointedly towards the deities, the knowledge-holding conquerors. Think one-pointedly thus: these knowledge-holding deities, the heroes, and the dakinis, have come from the holy paradise realms to receive me. I supplicate them all. Up to this day, although the 5 orders of the Buddhas of the 3 times have all exerted the rays of their grace and compassion, yet have I not been rescued by them. Alas, for a being like me! May the knowledge-holding deities not let me go downwards further than this, but hold me with the hook of their compassion and lead me to the holy paradises. Thinking in that manner one-pointedly, pray thus: O ye knowledge-holding deities, pray hearken unto me. Lead me on the path out of your great love. When I am wandering in the samsara because of intensified propensities, on the bright light path of the simultaneously born wisdom, may the bands of heroes, the knowledge holders, lead me. May the bands of the mothers, the dakinis, be my rear guard. May they save me from the fearful ambuscades of the Bardo, and place me in the pure paradise realms. Praying thus, in deep faith and humility, there is no doubt that one will be born within the pure paradise realms, after being merged in rainbow light into the heart of the knowledge-holding deities. All the pandit classes, too, coming to recognize at this stage, obtain liberation, even those of evil propensities being sure to be liberated here. Here endeth the part of the great Theodol, concerned with the setting face-to-face of the peaceful deities of the Chonya de Bardo, and the setting face-to-face of the clear light of the Chikai Bardo. The dawning of the wrathful deities from the 8th to the 14th day. Introduction. Now the manner of the dawning of the wrathful deities is to be shown. In the above Bardo of the peaceful deities, there were 7 stages of ambuscade. The setting face to face at each stage should have caused the deceased to recognize either at one or another stage and to have been liberated. Multitudes will be liberated by that recognition, and although multitudes obtain liberation in that manner, the number of sentient beings being great, evil karma powerful, obscurations dense, propensities of too long standing, the wheel of ignorance and illusion becometh neither exhausted nor accelerated. Although all be set face to face in such detail, there is a vast preponderance of those who wander downwards unliberated. Therefore, after the cessation of the dawning of the peaceful and knowledge-holding deities who come to welcome one, the 58 flame-enhaloed, wrathful, blood-drinking deities come to dawn, who are only the former peaceful deities in changed aspect, according to the place or psychic center of the Bardo body of the deceased whence they proceed. Nevertheless, they will not resemble them. This is the Bardo of the wrathful deities, and they being influenced by fear, terror, and awe, recognition becometh more difficult. The intellect, gaining not in independence, passeth from one fainting state to a round of fainting states. Yet, if one but recognize a little, it is easier to be liberated at this stage. If it be asked why, the answer is, because of the dawning of the radiances, which produced fear, terror, and awe. The intellect is undistractedly alert in one-pointedness. That is why. If at this stage one does not meet with this kind of teaching, one's hearing of religious lore, although it be like an ocean in its vastness, is of no avail. There are even discipline-holding abbots, or bhikkhus, and doctors in metaphysical discourses who err at this stage, and, not recognizing, wander into the samsara. As for the common worldly folk, what need is there to mention them? By fleeing through fear, terror, and awe, they fall over the precipices into the unhappy worlds and suffer. But the least of the devotees of the mystic Mantrayana doctrines, as soon as he sees these blood-drinking deities, will recognize them to be his tutelary deities, and the meeting will be like that of human acquaintances. He will trust them, and becoming merged into them, in at one moment, will obtain Buddhahood. By having meditated on the description of these blood-drinking deities while in the human world, and by having performed some worship or praise of them, or at least by having seen their painted likenesses and their images, upon witnessing the dawning of the deities at this stage, recognition of them will result, and liberation. In this lieth the art. Again, at the death of those discipline-holding abbots and doctors in metaphysical discourses, who remain uninstructed in these Bardo teachings, however assiduously they may have devoted themselves to religious practices, and however in the human world there will not come any phenomenal signs such as rainbow halo at the funeral pyre, nor bone relics from the ashes. This is because when they lived, the mystic or esoteric doctrines were never held within their heart, and because they had spoken contemptuously of them, and because they were never acquainted, through initiation, with the deities of the mystic or esoteric doctrines. Thus, when these dawn on the Bardo, they do not recognize them. Suddenly seeing what they had never seen before, engendered, they pass into the miserable states because of that. Therefore, if the observers of the disciplines and the esoteric doctrines. Such signs as the rainbow halo come not, nor are bone relics and seed-like bones ever produced from the bones of their funeral pyre. These are the reasons for it. The least of Mantrayanic devotees, who may seem to be of very unrefined manners, unindustrious, untactful, and who may not live in accordance with his vows, and who in every way may be inelegant in his habits, and even unable perhaps to carry the practices of his teachings to a successful issue. Let no one feel disrespect, or nor doubt him, but pay reverence to the esoteric or mystic doctrines which he holdeth. By that alone one obtaineth liberation at this stage. Even though the deeds of one paying such reverence may not have been very elegant while in the human world, at his death there will come at least one kind of sign, such a rainbow radiance, bone images, and bone relics. This is because the esoteric or mystic doctrines possess great gift waves. Those of and above the mystic Mantrayanic devotees of ordinary psychic development, who have meditated upon the visualization and perfection processes and practiced the essences or essence mantras, need not wander down this far on the Chonyad Bardo. As soon as they cease to breathe, they will be led into the pure paradise realms by the heroes and heroines and the knowledge holders. As a sign of this, the sky will be cloudless. They will merge into rainbow radiance. There will be sun showers, sweet scent of incense in the air, music in the skies, radiances, bone relics and images from their funeral pyre. Therefore, to the abbots or discipline holders, to the doctors, and to those mystics who have failed in their vows, and to all the common people, this Theodol is indispensable. But those who have meditated upon the great perfection and the great symbol will recognize the clear light at the moment of death, and, obtaining the Dharmakaya, all of them will be such as not to need the reading of this Theodol. By recognizing the clear light at the moment of death, they also will recognize the visions of the peaceful and the wrathful during the Chonyad Bardo, and obtain the Sambhoga Kaya, or, recognizing during the Sidpa Bardo, obtain the Nirmana Kaya, and, taking birth on the higher planes, will, in the next rebirth, meet with this doctrine and then enjoy the continuity of karma. Therefore, this Theodol is the doctrine by which Buddhahood may be attained without meditation, the doctrine liberating by the hearing of it alone, the doctrine which leadeth brings of great evil karma on the secret path, the doctrine which produceth differentiation instantaneously between those who are initiated into it and those who are not, being the profound doctrine which conferreth perfect enlightenment instantaneously. Those sentient beings who have been reached by it cannot go to the unhappy states. This doctrine and the total doctrine, when joined together, being like unto a mandala of gold inset with turquoise, combine them. Thus, the indispensable nature of the Theodol being shown, there now cometh the setting face to face with the dawning of the wrathful deities in the Bardo. The 8th day. Again, calling the deceased by name, address him thus: O nobly born, listen undistractedly, not having been able to recognize when the peaceful deities shone upon thee in the Bardo above, thou hast come wandering thus far. Now, on the 8th day, the blood-drinking, wrathful deities will come to shine. Act so as to recognize them without being distracted. O nobly born, the great glorious Buddha Heruka, dark brown of color, with 3 heads, 6 hands, and 4 feet firmly postured, the right face being white, the left red, the central dark brown, the body emitting flames of radiance, the 9 eyes widely opened in terrifying gaze, the eyebrows quivering like lightning, the protruding teeth glistening and set over one another, giving vent to sonorous utterances of ah la la and ha ha, and piercing whistling sounds. The hair of a reddish yellow color standing on end and emitting radiance, the heads adorned with dried human skulls and the symbols of the sun and moon, black serpents and raw human heads forming a garland for the body, the first of the right hands holding a wheel, the middle one a sword, the last one a battle axe, the first of the left hands a bell, the middle one a skull bowl, the last one a plowshare. His body embraced by the mother Buddha Krotisharima, her right hand clinging to his neck and her left putting to his mouth a red shell filled with blood, making a palatal sound like a crackling and a clashing sound and a rumbling sound as loud as thunder, emanating from the 2 deities radiant flames of wisdom, blazing from every hair pore of the body and each containing a flaming dorje. The 2 deities together thus, standing with one leg bent and the other straight and tense, on a dais supported by horned eagles, will come forth from within thine own brain and shine vividly upon thee. Fear that not, be not awed, know it to be the embodiment of thine own intellect. As it is thine own tutelary deity, be not terrified, be not afraid, for in reality it is the Bhagavan Virokana, the Father-Mother. Simultaneously with the recognition, liberation will be obtained. If they be recognized, merging thyself in at-one-ment into the tutelary deity, Buddhahood and the Sambhogakaya will be one. The 9th day. But if one flee from them, through awe and terror, being begotten, then, on the 9th day, the blood-drinking deities of the Varha order will come to receive one. Thereupon, the setting face-to-face is, calling the deceased by name, thus, O nobly born, listen undistractedly. He of the blood-drinking Varha order, named the Bhagavan Varha Haruka, dark blue in color, with 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 feet, firmly postured, in the first right hand holding a dorje, in the middle one a skull bowl, in the last one a battle axe, in the first of the left a bell, in the middle one a skull bowl, in the last one a plowshare. His body embraced by the mother Varha Krotisharima, her right hand clinging to his neck, her left offering to his mouth a red shell filled with blood, will issue from the eastern quarter of thy brain and come to shine upon thee. Fear it not, be not terrified, be not awed, know it to be the embodiment of thine own intellect. As it is thine own tutelary deity, be not terrified. In reality, they are the Bhagavan Varhasattva, the father and mother. Believe in them, recognizing them, liberation will be obtained at once. By so proclaiming them, knowing them to be tutelary deities, merging in them in at-one-ment, Buddhahood will be obtained. The 10th day. Yet if one does not recognize them, the obscurations of evil deeds being too great, and flee from them through terror and awe, then on the 10th day, the blood-drinking deities of the precious gem order will come to receive one. Thereupon the setting face-to-face is, calling the deceased by name, thus: O nobly born, listen. On the 10th day, the blood-drinking deity of the precious gem order named Ratna-haruka, yellow of color, having 3 faces, 6 hands, 4 feet firmly postured, the right face white, the left red, the central darkish yellow, enhaloed in flames, in the first of the 6 hands holding a gem, in the middle one a trident staff, in the last one a baton, in the first of the left hands a bell, in the middle one a skull bowl, in the last one a trident staff, his body embraced by the mother Ratna Krotesharima, her right hand clinging to his neck, her left offering to his mouth a red shell filled with blood, will issue from the southern quarter of thy brain, and come to shine upon thee. Fear not, be not terrified, be not awed, know them to be the embodiment of thine own intellect, they being thine own tutelary deities. Be not terrified, in reality they are the Father-Mother Bhagavan Ratnasambhava. Believe in them. Recognition of them and the obtaining of liberation will be simultaneous. The 11th day. Yet, though set face to face thus, if, through power of evil propensities, terror and awe being produced, not recognizing them to be tutelary deities, one flee from them, then, on the 11th day, the blood-drinking lotus order will come to receive one. Thereupon, the setting face to face is, calling the deceased by name, thus: O nobly born, on the 11th day, the blood-drinking deity of the lotus order, called the Bhagavan Padma Haruka, of reddish-black color, having 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 feet firmly postured, the right face white, the left blue, the central darkish red, in the first of the right of the 6 hands holding a lotus, in the middle one a trident staff, in the last a club, in the first of the left hands a bell, in the middle one a skull bowl filled with blood, in the last a small drum, his body embraced by the mother Padma Krotesharima, her right hand clinging to his neck, her left offering to his mouth a red shell filled with blood. The father and mother in union will issue from the western quarter of thy brain and come to shine upon thee. Fear not, be not terrified, be not awed. Rejoice, recognize them to be the product of thine own intellect, as they are thine own tutelary deity. Be not afraid. In reality, they are the Father-Mother Bhagavan Amitabha. Believe in them. Concomitantly with recognition, liberation will come. Through such acknowledging, recognizing them to be tutelary deities, in at one moment thou wilt merge into them and obtain Buddhahood. The 12th day. Despite such setting face to face, being still led backwards by evil propensities, terror and awe arising, it may be that one recognize not and flee. Thereupon, on the 12th day, the blood-drinking deities of the karmic order, accompanied by the Karima, Hitamenma, and Wang Chugma, will come to receive one. Not recognizing, terror may be produced, whereupon the setting face to face is, calling the deceased by name, thus: O nobly born, on the 12th day, the blood-drinking deity of the karmic order named Karma Herua, dark green of color, having 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 feet, firmly postured, the right face white, the left red, the middle dark green, majestic of appearance, in the first of the right of 6 hands holding a sword, in the middle one a trident staff, in the last a club, in the first of the left hands a bell, in the middle one a skull bowl, in the last a plowshare. His body embraced by the mother Karma Krotisharima, her right hand clinging to his neck, the left offering to his mouth a red shell, the father and mother in union, issuing from the northern quarter of thy brain, will come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. Be not terrified. Be not awed. Recognize them to be the embodiment of thine own intellect. They being thine own tutelary deity, be not afraid. In reality, they are the Father-Mother Bhagavan Amoga Siddhi. Believe and be humble, and be fond of them. Concomitantly with recognition, liberation will come. Through such acknowledging, recognizing them to be tutelary deities, in at one mint thou wilt merge into them and obtain Buddhahood. Through the Guru's select teaching, one cometh to recognize them to be the thought forms issuing from one's own intellectual faculties. For instance, a person, upon recognizing a lion skin to be a lion skin, is freed from fear, for though it be only a stuffed lion skin, if one do not know it to be so actually, fear ariseth. But upon being told by some person that it is a lion skin only, one is freed from fear. Similarly here, too, when the bands of blood-drinking deities, huge of proportions, with very thick-set limbs, dawn as big as the skies, awes and terror are naturally produced in one, but as soon as the setting face to face is heard, one recognizeth them to be one's own tutelary deities and one's own thought forms. Then, when upon the mother clear light, which one had been accustomed to formerly, a secondary clear light, the offspring clear light, coming together like two intimate acquaintances, blend inseparably, and therefrom a self-emancipating radiance dawneth upon one. Through self-enlightenment and self-knowledge, one is liberated. The 13th day. If this setting face to face be not obtained, good persons on the path too fall back from here and wander into the samsara. Then the 8 wrathful ones, the Karimas, the Hitatmenmas, having various animal heads, issue from within one's own brain and come to shine upon one's self. Thereupon the setting face to face is, calling the deceased by name, thus: O nobly born, listen undistractedly. On the 13th day from the eastern quarter of thy brain, the 8 Karimas will emanate and come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. From the east of thy brain, the white Karima, holding a human corpse as a club in the right hand, in the left holding a skull bowl filled with blood, will come to shine upon thee. Fear not. From the south, the yellow Tsarima, holding a bow and arrow, ready to shoot. From the west, the red Prahoma, holding a Makara banner. From the north, the black Pitali, holding a Dorje and a blood-filled skull bowl. From the southeast, the red Bukas, holding intestines in the right hand and with the left putting them to her mouth. From the southwest, the dark green Gasmari, the left hand holding a blood-filled skull bowl with the right stirring it with a Dorje, and she then drinking it with majestic relish. From the northwest, the yellowish-white Sandal, tearing asunder a head from a corpse, the right hand holding a heart, the left putting the corpse to the mouth, and she then eating thereof. From the northeast, the dark blue Smasha, tearing asunder a head from a corpse and eating thereof. These, the 8 Karimas of the abodes, or 8 directions, also come to shine upon thee, surrounding the 5 blood-drinking fathers. Yet be not afraid. O nobly born, from the circle outside of them, the 8 Hitamenmas of the 8 regions of the brain will come to shine upon thee. From the east, the dark brown lion-headed one, the hands crossed on the breast, and in the mouth holding a corpse and shaking the mane. From the south, the red tiger-headed one, the hands crossed downwards, grinning and showing the fangs, and looking on with protruding eyes. From the west, the black fox-headed one, the right hand holding a shaving knife, the left holding an intestine, and she eating and licking the blood therefrom. From the north, the dark blue wolf-headed one, the 2 hands tearing open a corpse and looking on with protruding eyes. From the southeast, the yellowish-white vulture-headed one, bearing a gigantic human-shaped corpse on the shoulder and holding a skeleton in the hand. From the southwest, the dark red cemetery bird-headed one, carrying a gigantic corpse on the shoulder. From the northwest, the black crow-headed one, the left hand holding a skull bowl, the right holding a sword, and she eating heart and lungs. From the northeast, the dark blue owl-headed one, holding a dorje in the right hand and holding a skull bowl in the left, and eating. These 8 Hitamenmas of the 8 regions, likewise surrounding the blood-drinking fathers, and issuing from within thy brain, come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. Know them to be the thought forms of thine own intellectual faculties. The 14th day. O nobly born, on the 14th day, the 4 female doorkeepers, also issuing from within thine own brain, will come to shine upon thee. Again, recognize. From the east quarter of thy brain will come to shine the white tiger-headed, goad-holding goddess, bearing a blood-filled skull bowl in her left hand. From the south, the yellow sow-headed, noose-holding goddess. From the west, the red lion-headed, iron chain-holding goddess. And from the north, the green serpent-headed, bell-holding goddess. Thus issue the 4 female doorkeepers, also from within thine own brain, and come to shine upon thee as tutelary deities. Recognize them. O nobly born, on the outer circle of these 30 wrathful deities, Herukas, the 28 various-headed, mighty goddesses, bearing various weapons, issuing from within thine own brain, will come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. Recognize whatever shineth to be the thought forms of thine own intellectual faculties. At this vitally important time, recollect the select teachings of the Guru. O nobly born, there will dawn from the east the dark brown yak-headed Rakshasa goddess holding a dorje and a skull, and the reddish-yellow serpent-headed Brahma goddess holding a lotus in her hand, and the greenish-black leopard-headed great goddess holding a trident in her hand, and the blue monkey-headed goddess of inquisitiveness holding a wheel, and the red snow-bear-headed virgin goddess bearing a short spear in the hand, and the white bare-headed Indra goddess holding an intestine noose in the hand. These, the 6 yoginis of the east issuing from within the eastern quarter of thine own brain, will come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. O nobly born, from the south will dawn the yellow bat-headed delight goddess, holding a shaving knife in the hand, and the red Makara-headed peaceful goddess, holding an urn in the hand. and the red scorpion-headed Amrita goddess, holding a lotus in the hand, and the white kite-headed moon goddess, holding a dorje in the hand, and the dark green fox-headed Baton goddess, flourishing a club in the hand, and the yellowish-black tiger-headed Rakshasi, holding a blood-filled skull bowl in the hand. These, the 6 yoginis of the south, issuing from within the southern quarter of thine own brain, will come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. O nobly born, from the west will dawn the greenish-black vulture-headed eater goddess, holding a baton in the hand, and the red, horse-headed delight goddess, holding a huge trunk of a corpse, and the white eagle-headed mighty goddess, holding a club in the hand, and the yellow dog-headed Rakshasi, holding a dorje in the hand, and a shaving knife, and cutting with this, and the red hoopoe-headed desire goddess, holding a bow and arrow in the hand aimed, and the green stag-headed wealth guardian goddess, holding an urn in the hand. These, the 6 yoginis of the west, issuing from within the western quarter of thine own brain, will come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. O nobly born, from the north will dawn the blue wolf-headed wind goddess, waving a pennant in the hand, and the red ibex-headed woman goddess, holding a pointed stake in the hand, and the black sow-headed sow goddess, holding a noose of fangs in the hand, and the red crow-headed thunderbolt goddess, holding an infant corpse in the hand, and the greenish-black elephant-headed big-nosed goddess, holding in the hand a big corpse and drinking blood from a skull, and the blue serpent-headed water goddess, holding in the hand a serpent noose. These, the 6 yoginis of the north, issuing from within the northern quarter of thine own brain, will come to shine upon thee. Fear that not. O nobly born, the 4 yoginis of the door, issuing from within the brain, will come to shine upon thee. From the east, the black cuckoo-headed mystic goddess, holding an iron hook in the hand. From the south, the yellow goat-headed mystic goddess, holding a noose in the hand. From the west, the red lion-headed mystic goddess, holding an iron chain in the hand. And from the north, the greenish-black serpent-headed mystic goddess. These, the 4 door-keeping yoginis, issuing from within the brain, will come to shine upon thee. Since these 28 mighty goddesses emanate from the bodily powers of Ratna Sambhava, he of the 6 Haruka deities recognized them. O nobly born, the peaceful deities emanate from the voidness of the Dharmakaya. Recognize them. From the radiance of the Dharmakaya emanate the wrathful deities. Recognize them. At this time, when the 58 blood-drinking deities emanating from thine own brain come to shine upon thee, if thou knowest them to be the radiances of thine own intellect, thou wilt merge in the state of at-one-ment into the body of the blood-drinking ones, there and then, and obtain Buddhahood. O nobly born, by not recognizing now, and by fleeing from the deities out of fear, again sufferings will come to overpower thee. If this be not known, fear being begotten of the blood-drinking deities, one is awed and terrified, and fainteth away. One's own thought forms turn into illusory appearances, and one wandereth into the samsara. If one be not awed and terrified, one will not wander into the samsara. Furthermore, the bodies of the largest of the peaceful and wrathful deities are equal in vastness to the limits of the heavens, the intermediate as big as Mount Meru, the smallest equal to 18 bodies, such as thine own body, set one upon another. Be not terrified at that. Be not awed. If all existing phenomena shining forth as divine shapes and radiances be recognized to be the emanations of one's own intellect, Buddhahood will be obtained at that very instant of recognition. The saying, Buddhahood will be obtained in a moment of time, is that which applieth now. Bearing this in mind, one will obtain Buddhahood by merging, in at one-ment, into radiances and the kayas. O nobly born, whatever fearful and terrifying visions thou mayest see, recognize them to be thine own thought forms. O nobly born, if thou recognize not and be frightened, then all the peaceful deities will shine forth in the shape of Mahakala, and the wrathful deities will shine forth in the form of Dharmaraja, the Lord of Death, and thine own thought forms becoming illusions, or maras, thou wilt wander into the samsara. O nobly born, if one recognize not one's own thought forms, however learned one may be in the scriptures, both sutras and tantras, although practicing religion for a kalpa, one obtaineth not Buddhahood. If one recognize one's own thought forms by one important art and by one word, Buddhahood is obtained. If one's thought forms be not recognized as soon as one dieth, the shapes of Dharmaraja, the Lord of Death, will shine forth on the Choniad Bardo. The largest of the bodies of the Dharmaraja, the Lord of Death, equaling the heavens in vastness, the intermediate, Mount Meru, the smallest, 18 times one's own body, will come filling the world systems. They will come having their upper teeth biting the nether lip, their eyes glassy, their hairs tied up on the top of the head, big-bellied, narrow-waisted, holding a karmic record board in the hand, giving utterance from their mouth to sounds of strike, slay, licking human brain, drinking blood, tearing heads from corpses, tearing out the hearts. Thus will they come, filling the worlds. O nobly born, when such thought forms emanate, be thou not afraid, nor terrified. The body which now thou possessest, being a mental body of karmic propensities, though slain and chopped to bits, cannot die. Because thy body is, in reality, one of voidness, thou needest not fear. The bodies of the Lord of Death, too, are emanations from the radiances of thine own intellect. They are not constituted of matter. Voidness cannot injure voidness. Beyond the emanations of thine own intellectual faculties, externally, the peaceful and the wrathful ones, the blood-drinking ones, the various-headed ones, the rainbow lights, the terrifying forms of the Lord of Death, exist not in reality. Of this there is no doubt. Thus, knowing this, all the fear and terror is self-dissipated, and, merging into the state of at-one-ment, Buddhahood is obtained. If thou recognizest in that manner, exerting thy faith and affection towards the tutelary deities and believing that they have come to receive thee amidst the ambuscades of the Bardo, think, I take refuge in them, and remember the precious Trinity, exerting towards them the Trinity fondness and faith. Whosoever thine own tutelary deity may be, recollect now, and calling him by name, pray thus. Alas, wandering am I in the Bardo, run to my rescue. Uphold me by thy grace, O precious tutelary. Calling upon the name of thine own Guru, pray thus. Alas, wandering am I in the Bardo, rescue me. O let not thy grace forsake me. Have faith in the blood-drinking deities too, and offer up this prayer. Alas, when I am wandering in the samsara through force of overpowering illusions on the light path of the abandonment of fright, fear, and awe, may the bands of the Bhagavans, the peaceful and wrathful ones, lead me. May the bands of the wrathful goddess rich in space be my rear guard, and save me from the fearful ambuscades of the Bardo, and place me in the state of the perfectly enlightened Buddhas. When wandering alone, separated from dear friends, when the void forms of one's own thoughts are shining here, may the Buddhas, exerting the force of their grace, cause not to come the fear, awe, and terror in the Bardo. When the 5 bright wisdom lights are shining here, may recognition come without dread and without awe. When the divine bodies of the peaceful and the wrathful are shining here, may the assurance of fearlessness be obtained and the Bardo be recognized. When, by the power of evil karma, misery is being tasted, may the tutelary deities dissipate the misery. When the natural sound of reality is reverberating like 1,000 thunders, may they be transmuted into the sounds of the 6 syllables. When unprotected, karma having to be followed here, I beseech the gracious compassionate one to protect me. When suffering miseries of karmic propensities here, may the blissfulness of the clear light dawn. May the 5 elements not rise up as enemies, but may I behold the realms of the 5 orders of the enlightened ones. Thus, in earnest faith and humility, offer up the prayer, whereby all fears will vanish and Buddhahood in the Sambhoga Kaya will undoubtedly be won. Important is this: being undistracted, repeat it in that manner 3 of even 7 times. However heavy the evil karma may be, and however weak the remaining karma may be, it is not possible that liberation will not be obtained, if one but recognize. If, nevertheless, despite everything done in these stages of the Bardo, recognition is still not brought about, then, there being danger of one's wandering further into the 3rd Bardo, called the Sidpa Bardo, the setting face to face for that will be shown in detail hereinafter. The conclusion, showing the fundamental importance of the Bardo teachings. Whatever the religious practices of anyone may have been, whether extensive or limited, during the moments of death, various misleading illusions occur, and hence this Theodol is indispensable. To those who have meditated much, the real truth dawneth as soon as the body and consciousness principle part. The acquiring of experience while living is important. They who have then recognized the true nature of their own being, and thus have had some experience, obtain great power during the Bardo of the moments of death, when the clear light dawneth. Again, the meditation on the deities of the mystic path of the mantra, both in the visualizing and the perfecting stages while living, will be of great influence when the peaceful and wrathful visions dawn on the Chonyad Bardo. Thus the training in this Bardo, being of particular importance, even while living, hold to it, read it, commit it to memory, bear it in mind properly, read it regularly, thrice. Let the words and the meanings be very clear. It should be so that the words and the meanings will not be forgotten, even though 100 executioners were pursuing thee. It is called the great liberation by hearing, because even those who have committed the 5 boundless sins are sure to be liberated if they hear it by the path of the ear. Therefore, read it in the midst of vast congregations. Disseminate it, through having heard it once, even though one does not comprehend it. It will be remembered in the intermediate state without a word being omitted, For the intellect becometh ninefold more lucid there. Hence it should be proclaimed in the ears of all living persons. It should be read over the pillows of all persons who are ill. It should be read at the side of all corpses. It should be spread broadcast. Those who meet with this doctrine are indeed fortunate. Save for them who have accumulated much merit and absolved many obscurations, difficult is it to meet with it. Even when met with it, difficult is it to comprehend it. Liberation will be won through simply not disbelieving it upon hearing it. Therefore, treat this doctrine very dearly. It is the essence of all doctrines. The setting face to face while experiencing reality in the intermediate state, called the teaching which liberateth by merely being heard, and that which liberateth by merely being attached, is finished. Book 2. The Sidpa Bardo. This is known as the good head part of that called the profound essence of the liberation by hearing, the reminder, the clear setting face to face in the intermediate state when seeking rebirth.